Hey, and welcome back to Peyronie's Uncovered, where I uncover the truth, the struggles, and the hope of living with Peyronie's disease. So, welcome to episode 2, and I wanted to first start by saying you are not alone. Because Peyronie's disease is a sensitive topic. Like, I lived in shame for many, many years with this. And so, once I reached a point here recently where I'm just like, you know what? It's about me telling my truth to help someone else. It's not even about me anymore. And I realized too, people don't care so much about what you do. They just want you to be able to help them. And that's what's in my heart. And that's what I stand for, is to help others. And there's not a lot of information on the internet about men openly discussing Peyronie's disease and penis health. Um, that really moved me. I'm gonna go back for a minute. So I've been living with Peyronie's disease for 12 years. What happened was I started to see a curve in my penis. I was like, oh my God, like my penis is starting to curve. Is there a benefit to this? Like, okay, you can and so and then I thought, you know what, I need to go to see my primary care physician. And so I scheduled an appointment to see him, and I went to my appointment and I said, "Hey, I wanted to just let you know that my penis is starting to curve." And he looked at me and he goes, "Oh yeah, you have Peyronie's disease." And I was like, "Peyronie's disease? What's that?" And he said, "Go home and research it and start taking vitamin E and watch and wait." And I was like, "Watch and wait?" And he's like, "Yeah, watch and wait. Like, let's just watch it and wait and see what happens." And I was like, okay. So I went home and I did what he said. I went on the internet on Google and I typed in Peyronie's disease, and I started to read like what it was and the symptoms and what causes it. And as I was reading the symptoms and went down the list, I was like, oh no, I'm not reading this. It was scary. And that's when I really thought, like, I really felt like I was in a dream. I was just like, oh my God, like, is this real? Like my penis, like these things are gonna happen, these changes. And like all these changes, like is to just see, like, I'm gonna wait and see if this happens or this happens and this happens. And I just kind of clicked off the internet and just like went about my life. And so what happened was, like, within a few more days after that visit to my primary care physician, I noticed that my penis was starting to curve even more. And and I was just like, and the first thing that came to my mind was what I had read on Google about Peyronie's disease, and it talked about how your penis can start to curve and then you can have pain. And that's when it started. The pain started. I started to have pain in my penis, and that's when I associated the pain with what I had read. And that's when it scared me. And I was confused. I was just like, wow, like, what the And I just thought, okay, God, I don't know what this is, and it's scary. And so my penis is curving. I'm having this pain, and the pain was like on the shaft, on the top of the shaft, and then when I would get it, and then it kind of sort of escalated into. I started having more symptoms, and it escalated to. I noticed there I was having challenges with an erection, like, because what happened was when I would attempt to get an erection, when I thought of what was happening with my penis, I couldn't sustain the erection. It was like almost like seeing my penis. It brought me to performance anxiety, and so I would lose the erection because of what I knew was happening with my penis. And for men, our penis is like a very personal part of who we are. And you know, most men, we don't talk about like openly about penis health, or like getting Peyronie's disease was like we don't talk about, like, most men don't talk about those kinds of things. And like, so now, my penis is curving, I'm having pain, I'm having challenges with erections. And I was reading, like, it talked about like the size and shape could change. That scared me. That for me was really overwhelming. And I do want to let you know that if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, this is just my personal experience with Peyronie's disease. I am not a doctor. And please don't go to the worst case scenario with yours, because I've learned that there are ways to manage it, which I'm going to get more into, the managing part of this disease, and, what my challenges have been, and, the treatments and the various different stages that I've gone through. I'm going to get into all that, but I just wanted to let you guys know that do not go to the worst case scenario, because that's what I did when I was first diagnosed and I was seeing these symptoms. I went to the worst case scenario, which kind of inflated my performance anxiety. Thinking of the worst case scenario doesn't help a man like have an erection. Like, if you're thinking that your penis is going to shrink, and it's going to curve, and there's going to be like the deformities and all these various things that I had read, trying to sustain an erection was very challenging. And so as time went on, I just kind of basically ignored it. So, beyond the pain and like the curvature, I just kind of stopped. And I didn't really have any type of sexual activity, because I was like, was having performance anxiety. I really didn't know what was happening with my penis. I was confused and I was scared. But most importantly, I was embarrassed, because I was like, so who do I go to talk to about this? Like, I can't go, like, I'm not going to go to like my friends or my family and say, oh, by the way, you know, I've been diagnosed with this disease called Peyronie's, and, your penis can curve, and it's not for a benefit. It can shrink, and they can have deformities and various other symptoms. And so I wasn't going to go to my family and say, oh, by the way, all this is happening to me. And because I was, like I said, embarrassed, and I was scared, and I was confused, and I didn't feel safe. And I have some good friends that I confide in and I trust, but I just felt like they were going to make fun of me because I joke with my friends, and they didn't understand what the disease was. And so it was like going to them, like I didn't that just was not something that I was going to do, which is very common with men with Peyronie's disease, and one of the reasons why I'm here sharing my story. I wanted to be a voice that Peyronie's disease is a disease that is not a disease that you should live in shame with. It's not a disease to feel guilty about. It's not a disease to be embarrassed about. It's a disease. And, just like with any other disease, when you have it, it's about being gentle with yourself. Like, you're not to blame yourself, because I did all of that. I was not gentle with myself. I blamed myself. I had a pretty active sex life prior to Peyronie's disease, and when I was diagnosed with it and the symptoms started to like become more pronounced, that's when I was like just really struggling with it. Like, it was just like in a dream. Back to the dream again. It was scary, you guys. And so anyway, I so I just completely stopped having any type of sexual activity. Like I said, the penis is something really personal. And so, like, to have to lose control over what's happening to my penis was, it was devastating. And yeah, so what ultimately happened, because I'm not going to be able to cover everything in this episode, but I decided that I was going to start seeing a therapist. And so, which I'm going to get into in another episode, but I wanted to just kind of touch that a little bit and say that, that was one of the avenues that I had to like tap into. One, because I had been in therapy before, and two, um, I just knew that I needed a place that I could go to, a safe space where I could go to and talk about this because I was not going to talk about it to anyone in my friends or family or my circle, my support group. And and so anyway, this like I just want to go back. Like I've been living with this disease for over 12 years, and I've gone through like ups and downs, a roller coaster ride of this whole experience, and I'm just being me. And and so anyway, that's kind of where I'm going to leave it for now. I encourage you all to subscribe, to like, comment, and you can ask me any questions. I'm more than happy to answer questions, but I'm going to talk more about what the disease is like, which, you know what, that was one of the things I wanted to cover in this episode that just hit me. Um, Peyronie's disease is typically caused by an injury, and it can be through a vigorous sexual activity or a sports injury. You know, there's a lot of information out there about, you know, what causes it can be genetics, diet. I have an idea of what would cause mine. We believe it to be an injury, which I'm going to get more into that, but that's typically what causes it. But then um, what happens is the injury causes fibrous scar tissue to develop, which ultimately turns into plaque. And the plaque causes the penis to curve. And then often it causes pain, as I talked about, you know, some of the symptoms that I had, which was pain. And then there's some more symptoms that I'm going to get into in another episode. But I want to say as I start to wrap up that you are not alone in this, and there's help out there, there's support, there's understanding, there's resources. You do not have to do this alone. And I just, again, want to let you guys know that this is my personal experience. Every case is different. And, oh, and I wanted to tell you that the emotional toll that it takes can be much heavier than the physical toll that it takes. I mean, that's a big component of it. The changes that happen that can be totally devastating. And for me, it was. But the emotional toll was so much more, and which I'm going to get more into. But know that, again, you are not alone. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And thank you for watching this.